Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, March 28th, 8:35 a.m. Um, I'm being told, not told, I'm sorry. I saw some things, like I was watching some other videos and reading some stuff, and apparently there's a disclaimer I should be saying at the beginning of each of these videos. I don't know the exact wording, but basically the idea is if you trade futures, you're going to lose all your money. The idea is to let you guys know that there is a huge amount of risk involved in trading futures, and whatever you see happen in the past is not indicative of what's going to happen in the future. So there you go. All right. Anyhow, let's and certainly that is true, right? You guys hear me talk about being on simulation mode for as long as possible. I'm going to touch on that in a minute. I had an interesting conversation with someone maybe about a week ago. Okay, so let's pull up our news for today, see what we have going on. All right, we had some news come out at 8:30 just a few minutes ago. We have something coming out at 9. I'm not really interested in that. And consumer confidence at 10, along with manufacturing index. So might be a little choppy ahead of the consumer confidence, but we will see. Let's start adjusting. Let's start adjusting here. So it looks like sometimes, for some reason, sometimes when I start messing around with this chart, it keeps bouncing around because of where price is printing, and sometimes it doesn't. Don't know why. So this value area low, VPOC, and value area high from yesterday. We have overnight low here, and overnight high here. I'm not sure why that's not. Oh, okay, that's why. I was trying to grab it, and it was actually this at the same time. It was the current price, so there's that white dotted line at the current price. I wasn't able to grab sorry, doesn't matter. All right, we also need overnight VPOC. Stretch this out so I can get it. Okay, let's take a look at what's happened overnight here. So we have our close here. We are just about 100% net long. We see that a lot. We see a lot of days where we are close to 100% in one direction or the other after the close. Something that might be something worth paying attention to, and maybe trying to see if there's a way that we can try to capture some of that overnight move. I didn't think about that. But anyhow, so 100% or close to 100% net long. We are currently trading right near the high of the overnight session. So definitely very, very bullish. Not a P-shaped profile. We do have a clear distribution here. This low volume. Let me go find my pen. Sorry, guys. We do have this low volume node here, kind of grouping this, even some low volume here. But once we get above that, it's not clear distributions. I mean, we do see a little bit there, a little bit there. But this is not the P-shaped profile we saw yesterday. This actually looks like a profile of price moves up, it gets accepted, it moves up, it gets accepted, it moves up, it gets accepted. And that seems to be happening with, here too. Now, granted, it is an overnight profile. We're not going to put too much weight on it. But I'm a little bit less enthusiastic looking for a reversal this morning, push up into a short as I was yesterday. But we'll look at that when we start doing our homework. Speaking of which, let's bring in our hourly chart here. And let's take a look if there are any levels that we traded through yesterday that need to come off of the chart. So we have these two swings here, and we traded up we traded up from beneath them, and then we tested them from above, but they held. So I'm actually going to leave those on there for now. I'm also going to add in yesterday's low and yesterday's high. It looks to me that yesterday's high touched exactly to what has become microcomposite VPOC here. You see that, right? You see microcomposite VPOC was yesterday's high to the tick. So let's stretch this across. See, we're gonna stretch out our microcomposite and see what happens here. Okay. And let's see. We know we're currently trading right near high a day, way up here. So let's see what kind of information we can ascertain. So that puts us right at about 48.34. Let's just see if that's changed since we've been watching. Nope, right there, 48.32. Okay. Most likely, overnight high is going to be adjusted before we open, but you know we'll do the homework with the information we got. Okay, so you can see we had this area here where we balanced, and we're currently testing this swing high from a few days ago, right here. That's where overnight high is right now as well. So what we're going to be watching for is this. We'll start with what I'd like to see. Push back to overnight VPOC, hold, and then a move up, breaking overnight high, maybe get a retest to hold there, and then I'd push back up here to former VPOC, back here into this distribution and the high volume node of this distribution here, right around 49 even. That's going to be hypo 1. What's happening here is we have this, we'll call this one the distribution here, and then we have this low volume area, tiny distribution here. You do have a low volume node. You do have a low volume node right at that 48.63 area, so you know right near this swing. So we will certainly be paying attention for that. But I believe that if we get outside of this distribution, it looks like we're going to try to get all the way up into this one. We have this very small distribution here that we need to pay attention to, and that's we have some levels going right through it. But I would think that if we're going to get away from, if we're going to get away from here, this distribution, I think we're ultimately going to try to traverse our way back up and at least test VPOC of this distribution, this high volume node. Okay, so that's hypo 1. Hypo 2 is going to be an open. Come test this swing here, somewhere in these areas, maybe even fail up here with a turn back down, getting us into this other distribution that we're talking about, and I'll draw it out in just 1 second. Ultimately come back to test overnight VPOC, and in my opinion, microcomposite VPOC. This is expectation number 2. So again, I'm going to show you that we're going to open here, we're going to come and we're going to test low volume node or low volume node. I'm not I'll be watching at both of those for a turn, and then if we can get back down into this distribution, I believe that if we're pushing to the bottom of this distribution, ultimately we will make our way down towards microcomposite VPOC. So that's going to be expectation number 2. To be honest with you, there's really nothing left for me to draw because they're just going to be variations of how we move in between these levels. So that's going to be it for the morning homework for oil. Just make sure there's nothing obvious that I'm overlooking here. No, okay. Let's put this over here. And I believe that gives us enough time, 8:45, plenty of time. Let's move some lines and levels and get some preparation going for S&P. So value area low from yesterday. VPOC from yesterday. And value area high from yesterday. Just looking for my overnight high and low. I see one of them, but I don't see the other. Ah, there it is. Right on that micro composite. So that's what? 37.50. Okay. As opposed to oil, we see that the S&P did not trade 100% that long. We're actually fairly neutral here. We started out above, came down below, currently sitting very close to overnight low. Real clear distribution in the profile here. Real clear. Look, one distribution, second distribution down here, and we're building up some volume down here. So we'll have to see if this pushes further down to create a nicer bell-shaped curve. Here we just kind of fall off. We'll see if this pushes further down to elongate it a little bit, even out this distribution. Okay. So let's see here. So we have, where is overnight VPOC? I don't know if I have one of those on here. There we go. So overnight VPOC and yesterday's value area high are converging together. Not that really matters all that much, but it's just, you know, we'll see that. On the homework chart, we'll see a couple of levels overlapping. Oh, you know what? I did not print my oil hypothesis. That's okay. So we could see yesterday in the S&P, we got exactly what we were expecting, actually quite a bit further than. Remember, we didn't have a chance to finish our homework on the S&P. We got as far as talking about trying to fill the gap, but never really was able to talk much more about it. And there's no surprise in seeing what this did yesterday, where it went to and what it went through and so on. So if you remember, and for some reason it's been removed off my chart, thank you, NinjaTrader. If you remember, we had a micro composite in here yesterday, and we drew in our micro composite VPOC right here. So it is no surprise that we came pushed up to into and through a former micro composite VPOC and continued to make a move towards micro composite VPOC, even further towards it overnight. Missed it by a point so far overnight. We have traded our way back into this micro composite. Let me open this up a little bit. It's going to be tough to see. What's a good way to do that? Oh, I think I have an idea. Let's turn this off for a second. Okay. Yeah, no, don't like that. These are bigger than I need them to be. They're kind of in my way right now. Let's do this. We'll give it a minute, let it reload. Still got 10 minutes to the open. Plenty of time to get through what it is I want to get through with this. Okay. That's better. Much better. Okay, so what we're looking at, let's see where we're currently trading. 35. So right near the overnight low. Put a marker here, and let's take a look. Okay, so first thing we're going to watch for is going to be a move down into these two swings down here. Okay, you can see that both of those swings were tested from below yesterday, and we got through them, and then they held from above. So we're going to watch those to act as support. You'll see we're leaving them on the chart because we tested them from one direction, and then when we tested it from the other direction, they held. So we leave them on the chart. If we were to break them from the other direction, I would take them off. So we're going to watch first for a test down here with a push back up, maybe a second test for a nice entry. And we're going to be looking for this move to make its way overnight VPOC, overnight high, microcomposite VPOC. That's going to be our first expectation. Now, granted, this will not, well, I shouldn't say that. This isn't what I would expect the entire day's worth of trading to look like, but for the time we're in front of the screen, this is what this will be a nice move. Okay. Then expectation number 2 is going to be an opening push failed at overnight low. Ultimately come through these swings, and just like we saw a sharp move yesterday, I would expect to see a sharp move back down today, coming and getting close to testing this swing here. That's going to be expectation number 2. Now, granted, again, it probably won't happen this cleanly. We'll look for pullbacks to the mid, pullbacks to VWAP, pullbacks to prior consolidations throughout the morning for potential trade entries. Excuse me, but you have this very low volume area on the chart. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add something on here. I am going to add on, let me grab a picture. Let me just copy this, copy paste. We're going to add this former VPOC in here. The reason for it is you see the, sorry, let me clean up this hypo a little bit. Could actually be starting here. Okay. You see this high volume node, one little spike in there. I can see that acting as a potential magnet. We could turn there, but ultimately, I do think that if we are making our way down, we are going to come and push towards even this previous low. So we're going to put that on here as well. I didn't do that. And previous high, I didn't do either, so let's put that on here real quick. Okay, that overnight VPOC has a lot of stuff around it. We're definitely going to be watching for that. Okay, so that's going to be hypo 2. Let me redraw it so that we know what the hell I'm talking about. We includes me. So an open, push down, break overnight low, test it, have it hold, maybe even test these swings after we break, have them hold. Ultimately, make our way down. towards former VPOC through this low volume area on the composite. That's hypo number 2. It's going to be all we draw out. The definitely some range bound opportunities as well. You know what? I will draw out one of those. Let me see what time it is. Good. I will draw out one of those. So we can open, test these swings. I don't believe that we would come here and hold. Just for some reason, I believe if we get to here, we're getting through it. Now, I'm not going to trade based on that mentality, okay? This is just something that I'm taking a guess at here. But I believe that the range to the downside, if we're going to be range bound, I believe will be right around here. And to the top side, if we're going to stay in a tight, super tight range, will be up here. But I think overnight high micro composite VPOC, I really think that could frame the day there, something like that. That's going to be hypo 3. Okay, so let's clear this. Get rid of this. Move our chart out of the way. And we have a few minutes to the open. That timed out kind of nicely. Okay. And overnight high, as we were drawing, remember we said there's a chance we're going to change overnight high. We saw a pretty significant move since our homework, about 15 ticks down, 12 ticks back up. Nice negative divergence up here. Really should be watching this for a potential short. Now, remember I was saying I'm not nearly as excited about a short off the open as I was as a long off the open yesterday, but now we're adding in the BBs, which granted do mean a little bit less to me with the overnight trading versus the trading once the market's open. Or I'm sorry, once the pit session opens. Oh, again, these things turn blue? I thought I saved this. You'll see, now that you guys have had a chance to see my screen for a while, you'll see that for some reason, sometimes there's a lot of stuff that ends up having to get changed multiple times on the on NinjaTrader. Don't know why. Doesn't really matter. It's not really a big deal, but I think I have a clue as to why that might have happened. It goes a push right through overnight high. Some large offers sitting up there. We now have new overnight high, so I guess it was a push to change overnight high, not through overnight high. We've lost some divergence on the 610, but I really like. I am actually going to take a short here. I almost never take a trade pre-market. Almost, I'm frozen. I'm not sure what just happened. Please keep in mind that trade has nothing to do with the BBs that we watch. Yes, there certainly is some validation of the BBs, but we do not trade pre-market. That's not what I'm trying to teach you guys. It's for me. This is again one of those open of the day trades. Not nearly as excited about it, but I like how the BBs look, so I was willing to take a shot. I can assure you without doubt, if I were live today, I would not be taking this trade, regardless of what it does. So we open, we push up, we do find some immediate sellers there. We start making our way back. This push up here, this push now followed by a push down, another move back up right now towards overnight high, VPOC. Granted it's super early, but just to read it as a spot on the chart that's easy for us to see. And seeing some selling pressure step in would be a decent short opportunity here. Definitely need to pay attention to the BBs. We want to make sure that we don't lose our negative divergence if we do make a push towards the top. And just in case this is, move some targets away. Got overnight VPOC 4813. So we're gonna front run. We're gonna front run overnight VPOC. We have our 10 tick here, and what's happening so far, so we've had an open, we pushed, we've had a strong move overnight. So this push up at the open, we had a large gap up today at our opening today. Opening price is, what do we got here? 48.35. Yesterday's high, 48.11. Way down here. I think what I might have to do, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, wow. Yesterday's high 47.85. Huge gap up. Huge gap up here. So let's see if we can't make a push back in towards the gap. Not that I'm saying I expect this gap to be filled. It certainly can. But 47.85, 48.35, that's 50. So if we take 10 ticks, that puts us at 48.10. Okay. So half of the gap puts us at 48.10. But when we're really not seeing any pushback down here. If I wasn't in a trade right now, I'd really be sitting on my hands. This is striking me more as a strong sign than a weak one right now, but I wouldn't really be doing anything off of it. I'm watching now what's going on here on this order flow. How we're at the bid, we're trading at the bid size was decreasing there. We just added on, just did it again. So we're down to 7, back up to 19, just did it again. Okay, now we came offer. We need to see if we can push through. These buyers have been holding right at current VPOC 48.33. Buyers have continued to refresh their bids there. Just a complete halt in trading there for a second, or a few seconds, I should say. Buyers are continuing to refresh their bid. Definitely trading the bid more so than the offer, but that bid is holding here. Offers are adding on as well right there. So we just saw them add some size. Here we go, trying to make a push through low of day. It's a little hard to see while it's sitting on a level like that. You know, the order flow gets a little bit tougher to see, but we can see that we're trading the bid. And they're decreasing. There we go. Sellers down. Nice. Right now, we're really only hitting bids. That's currently, you know, now we're starting to see a kind of tick between bid and offer. Bids just stepped up there. But still right now in this instant, it seems to be the sellers are the ones putting the pressure on. Buyers are holding here. There come sellers again. Now they're coming down with a little bit more size. But some of them just disappeared.
Can I ask something?
BBs look good. Again, seems to be more selling pressure than buying pressure. Although buyers have been willing to absorb at a few different places on the way down, they really haven't stepped up. See, sellers are the ones stepping down. Big trade went off there, or it could be a couple of big trades. Sellers are the ones stepping down. Buyers are willing to absorb as we move down, but they really haven't turned aggressive and started pushing price back up yet. So let's see if sellers can continue to push down here. Buyers just came in there. And once again, sellers are... So here's our first real stalemate on the way down, you know, since our break of the low here. Found absorption down here with buyers. Sellers have stepped down the entire time. They've been coming down, increasing their offers just like they did there again. But buyers are willing to absorb some contracts here. All right, there's a step up in the bid. We are definitely going to move our stop to break even here.
Hey, Eddie.
Yo.
Now, because you said you wouldn't take this trade if you were live.
Yes.
Would you almost look at it like, if you're looking at it as realistically as possible, would you kind of be looking at it like you weren't actually in a trade right now?
No. So what I said was if I was live today, meaning I have not done enough trading pre-market.
Okay.
And I don't want, especially if a trade goes in my favor and people are watching a video, I don't want there to be you know, a misassumption of, okay, yeah, he did this because of... All the signs are there. Negative divergence as we're testing highs. I just don't normally take trades before the open. Normally, I would wait for the open. You know, seeing this push up and then a reversal, you absolutely could start getting in a trade and put a stop above the high day. So this is the type of trade you could have been in, but I don't normally get into trades before the open. That's really all I wanted to...
And that's why you're not trading live yet, right? Because you're testing these strategies.
Exactly. Okay, so we saw buyers step in there. So now this actually, the reason I moved my stop to break even was, remember, we're in a pretty good uptrend from overnight. We do have a big gap up. And to see buyers start stepping in, there is always the fear that we're going to turn back up and start pushing in the direction of the gap. So in this case, heading higher. Buyers continuing to step up here. You know what I gotta do? I gotta find. I had a program that would change the color of my mouse so it was easier for people to see it, and I don't know where the hell it went. Let me try something here.
You can change what color your mouse is by going into the properties of it. You can change it to like a bright yellow.
I gotta find what I did with this. Hang on here. That pullback actually right there might have been a decent opportunity to try to get a short. The only problem is it's not a huge move from the bottom to the top. It's a little early in the day, so it's too early to start worrying about, do I have 10 ticks from my entry to, hang on here, install date. I'm looking at all the programs I've recently installed. I don't know what the hell these are. I didn't install any of these. What the hell? So here's a pullback down to the low. That stop kind of hurt us. Not a great place to move the stop to. I moved it partially because of the idea that the trade was before the open, and I really didn't want to have that first trade go against me. But most likely, there we go. This before presentation. It looks like we're testing low again here, but let me see if I can't get this working. Okay, so here comes test of low of day. BBs definitely still look weak. Okay. Let's see. Nope. This is a little bit too. Let's get ourselves back here. There's our push through low. Yeah, I got the. I won't complain because, like I said, that's not a trade I really should have been in the first place. So not being in it doesn't really bother me. You could have actually short this pullback, and it maybe if not in a trade, that's something I would have been watching to do. You could have short this pullback to VWAP, but. So what we're watching for now, same basic idea. We're going to watch for pullbacks. We're going to look for areas that we might form lows, get some indication off of the BBs, and circle. See a big bid here at 290 some odd contracts. All right, much better. There we go. Okay. So, we have this consolidation area back here that we're watching to see if that holds as a low. Certainly can't just take a trade off of the move down. Definitely interested in looking at a pullback here as a potential short opportunity. We still have yet to even come test overnight VPOC. Remember, halfway of the gap is 47.10. Just calculate that one more time. 85 was, yeah, exactly. So have not even come back yet to test halfway of the gap. So I'm sorry, 48.10 is halfway to the gap, not 47.10. Really not much to do here. If you were in a short trade, it looks like you'd be out of your first contract, and then I think a reasonable profit target would be around overnight VPOC for another one with stop with a stop kind of trailing behind these swings. If this does continue to push down, you wouldn't expect it to break above any of these swings on the way down, which is really where I should have had my stop. I should have had my stop above here. Initially, it was above high a day. Should have moved it down towards this micro double bottom here when we tested and ultimately pushed down. Could move the stop down below this swing here. If you were managing, and I probably should have managed the trade, regardless of when I got into it or not, I probably should have managed the trade that way. Also, you'll see if you happen to stumble upon this video as compared to some of the ones from a few weeks ago, you'll see that we're entering all 3 contracts at once. We're going to do that for the next few weeks instead of scaling in. Just want to see what the outcomes are going to be. No doubt that there are times that scaling in works better than all in and scale out, but in the very, very short data set I have, it does seem that I would be better off entering in all 3 contracts, tightening my stops, and being willing to get back into a trade as opposed to scaling in. And in many, many cases, I've scaled in, gotten my 1 contract, trade goes completely in my favor, and I don't get to make nearly as much as I should. We've seen that happen quite a bit. Just saw that big bid. I don't know if you were paying attention. Big bid came in, 200 contracts. As soon as we touched it, it went away. I don't think it actually traded. It just left. We have the same thing happening on the offer now. We're one above the best offer to 218 contracts. We don't know if that's valid or not because we're not actually trading it. So having it sitting there does us nothing until we actually try to trade it. But right now you have 3 thick levels above and below inside market. The offer is at the inside market with over 100 contracts. You see we're hitting bids. The offer came down again there. Actually, that gives me another idea. Is there a way to move that? I want to move that yellow number that's counting down. I want to move that closer here, like maybe right along right side of this so I can read them together. So continue to push down here. Chart did exactly what you would expect it to do at the open. We pushed up. BBs showed negative divergence. We've made our way back down cleanly. Really, really nicely done. Proper trade management would keep you in this trade right now. I did not have proper trade management, so don't let that confuse you.
Now, you look at, because you're a morning time trader, you look at, you're allowed to look at divergence from overnight, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of see what's happening. Like, we're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that means we're around here and here. And then,
here. Yeah.
And then you go back on the chart, and it seems like 7 o'clock was like down here. And we've been trading around this area since we were around here. You see that?
On what, the BBs?
Yeah.
So the BBs have been going straight down since the open.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and if you go backwards, are you saying like back here?
I was talking more towards around like 7 o'clock. So like where we are at the BBs right now on like the 610, the 987, and earlier in the 1597.
Yeah.
Where we were even with them, around there.
So technically, this is actually what's called a hidden divergence. You see how the BBs have gotten quite a bit lower than where they were here, but price is higher. That's actually a bullish sign in an uptrend, and certainly with the way overnight was, you would say that we are in an uptrend. So that's actually a bullish sign. I don't really use hidden divergence all that much just yet.
Okay.
But yeah, so seeing that where price comes down, where you're in an uptrend, but creates a new high, but at the same time, BBs create a new low, that's actually a positive sign.
Oh, okay. So you're looking for an opportunity to get long then?
Almost. I like that we're coming near overnight VPOC. I like that we're coming near the 50% retracement on the gap, which for us we have noted by other levels. So I don't really care, what that level is. But the fact that I have one on the chart. But I would now start to be willing to look for positive divergence on a pullback towards the current low of day and these levels below it for a potential long. On the flip side, I have no problem with looking at a move back up towards mid of day, because right now our current low is 48.16, middle of day is 48.28, so it gives us about 12 ticks. Not huge.
So you're just looking to push down a little bit more so that we have a little bit more room to work with?
Exactly.
Okay.
Or if let's say we were to push all the way back up to the upper end of this consolidation, right to like kind of where this swing high is right there, that 48.34 swing high. If we were to push back up there, I'd be looking for potentially a short opportunity. But it really have to depend on how we what it looks like when we do that, if we do that. Unfortunately, I closed my trade really at a poor spot. The truth be told, you should still be in probably 2 of the 3 contracts here. I don't remember where the short. Well, oh, here we go. I got short at 35. So what did I have? I had 25 as one, and then we were front running this by a couple. I think we were at about 15. So it would still be in the second contract, second and third, and then third for me would be I would just leave it on there all the way down to the closing of the gap, yesterday's high down here. But we'll see what happens between here and there. Hopefully we get another decent trade setup. What time we have? 9:23. So about 7 minutes till equities open. See, we're bouncing. So now we're getting our bounce away. No positive divergence yet. Haven't had anything set that up, and then immediately sellers step back in here. So, I try to describe the what's happening on the depth of market as much as I can, just so that to see if people can start learning to see it. But you're not always watching it for trade opportunity. Like right now, I'm not interested in any trade here. Certainly not any short. I know that it looks like it's weighted down, but my risk versus reward, we'd have to get through the lower day, we'd have to get through overnight VPOC, we'd have to get through this swing level. That's a lot of stuff we'd have to push through. Where my risk, really, the only thing I have above me to stop me, we have 21 EMA and VWAP, but really it's all the way back up here, the top of these 2 swings, and now this swing here. So I'm really not looking for a short. If it pushes down, so be it. It's hard to tell the beginning of a trend day early on, but if it pushes down, so be it. I'd be much more interested in seeing some consolidation. I'd be more likely to go long here with the stop right below lower day than I would be to go short here. Not that I'm going to. Not that I'm looking to get short here or long here right now. BBs are pointing down, but we're coming right into levels that I want to watch. We're sitting at this low volume node from overnight. So here comes the test of overnight VPOC and the halfway back into the gap. So we see buyers stepping in, and here come sellers right back. Wow. At this point, I'm watching to see if buyers can start stepping in here, defend one of these particular levels that we have on the chart. Not necessarily a level that, I mean, certainly many other people are looking at overnight VPOC. Certainly many other people are looking at halfway in the gap, which for us coincides with whatever swing level this is, and I can't even tell what's hidden underneath here. What is that? Former microcomposite VPOC. So I'd be looking to see if buyers step in here. Then I'd be starting to watch for a potential long opportunity, because now I'm starting to defend my position using these as potential stops. And buyers did just step in there. Let's see if we can't get one more push down. One more push down to give me a chance to get into a trade here. So sellers are pushing. They keep coming. Let's see if buyers can start absorbing here. No, sellers coming down. We're going to hold off here. See right here. Now I'm watching order flow. All right, I'm going in here. Now, watching the buyers step in, watching the buyers refresh is what added confidence into taking this trade. That doesn't mean this trade's going to be right. I'm in a long trade without positive divergence on the BBs. This is one that you guys I've been saying you're going to see me do things a little differently than you've seen me do before. And there's reasons for it. These are things I want to try to add into my trading and see how they do. So I'm being very, very attentive right now to order flow. I want to make sure that sellers don't continue to step in right here, because that's the top of this tiny little consolidation. I don't want to see sellers continue to hold here. If they do, I'm going to probably close out part of, if not all of my trade. But right now, no doubt, buyers have stepped in. Now we just got to see. No, that's it. I'm out. Oh, no, hang on. Shouldn't be short here. Okay. Break even. All right. So these sellers just stepped in a few times over. So because I don't have my positive divergence on the BBs, because I'm not nearly as confident in this trade. So I don't know, what did I make? 2 ticks on the trade, whatever it is. But sellers continue to step in right up here. I probably should have held on to this and moved my stop a little bit tighter to see if buyers can continue to push up. But just didn't like how sellers continue to step in at the very top of this consolidation, as they're doing again right now. If I had positive confirmation from the BBs, positive divergence, I would have felt differently about holding on to that trade right now, but it looks like we're going to be coming back down to test. So that's okay. Couple ticks. That wasn't the purpose of the trade. Certainly not. But like I said, without having the BBs turn positive yet, really it still tells us that we could get to lows and push through lows. This is where buyers stepped in before, so we're going to watch here. I'm not looking really as much now to jump in on a trade. I've already seen sellers hold again at the top side of this consolidation. Buyers keep stepping ahead. There goes a big sell down. Here you go. Let's see if they can't retest the lower day right now. Still no positive divergence on the BBs. So right there, what we tried to do, and see again, the buyers are defending down here, sellers are defending up here. What we tried to do there is we tried to use order flow as our entry trigger. A little bit more conservative of a trade here would have been, where we got in and then move our stop up right below current low of day. Whereas if we break the low, the assumption is we're going to continue down because of the lack of positive divergence on the BBs. Let's take a quick flip over here towards S&P, since we have opened right at low of day. No positive divergence there, so we're not going to look for any, sorry, open right at overnight low. So we have 1597 showing positive divergence on the S&P, but only 1597. So here's a move up. Overnight VPOC is, oh, shifted. Okay. Didn't see that. I'm gonna hold that down. Shoot. So right there, we broke out above, broke out above this consolidation. Okay, so there was the open S&P, push up, test the top of the consolidation. This is the last consolidation area from overnight. Push back down. Oh, come on, oil. You screwed me. Big bid. Gone. So what I was saying with oil, you could have gotten in where we did. So the order flow kind of gave us the heads up, and we could have moved our stop just below low of day to allow it the breathing room if we wanted to. That was another way to handle that. I've been a little bit pussified this morning with my stop placements, or in that case, closing of the trade. So we just came up to test VWAP. All this consolidation down here above overnight VPOC, above 50% of the gap. I mean, that really does read like a sign of strength to me. A lot of big buys going off up here. And we don't know if this, the size is really, really confusing. I say it almost every day when we see size. It seems like we trade towards size, which is just so ass backwards to me, but so be it. So I'm watching both now. I'm watching the S&P. Got an eye on both of them. We see VWAP continuing to hold here on oil. I wasn't watching order flow to see what was happening there. That's near impossible, is watching order flow on two things at once. For me, it is impossible. There's no way I could read order flow on both of these at the same time. S&P coming up, pushing up higher, heading towards yesterday's VPOC. Where is yesterday's value area low? Is it really that far away? Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, so oil again, getting up on this VWAP here. Looks like VWAP's holding. I'm very hesitant now because we have the upturn. Oh man, sellers are coming in hard. We have the upturn on the BBs now on the 610 for sure. 987. 987, I don't believe would have positive divergence if we made our way back down with any type of speed. Let's see here. S&P continuing to push. Really didn't see a good. I really didn't see a great trade setup here. I mean, the consolidation that was nice. This one bar pullback, that one candle pullback, yeah, you'd have to really be on your game to get it. But that's the only thing that even looks like potentially. But I didn't see it when it happened. I'll just make sure that I'm clarifying that. Again, VWAP looks like it's holding here, but the longer we hold here, the longer we consolidate up here, the more positive the divergence becomes in the BBs for the idea of a pullback into a long. Messed it up here. We had so far today we had a great entry up towards the top, a great entry down towards the bottom. Just poor trade management on my part. We're back into this area where we saw a couple of large trades go off, a little bit of consolidation. BB still definitely read negative overall. You know, they're following the price action. Following the price action, you see 1597 definitely skewed down. They're all skewed down right now. They're all just having little retracements. But what we don't know is from here, if price turned back down, would we get would we get positive divergence on the 610 or the 987? I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to look for. I think I might have just missed a good short here. Let me just see this order flow for a second. Trading bid, but bids adding on. All right, so that's strength. Trading offers, bids moved up. All right, so I'm going to take a short here just on the VWAP, and I want my stop to be just above this little micro triple top here. Really should have been looking to get in closer to where, you know, add a couple ticks on, because 10 tick profit target right now puts me below the current low of day, which I'm not crazy about. You know, if I have to close it for 8-9 ticks, if I see that it comes down there and we run into trouble, I certainly will do that. I'm also still paying attention to order flow here, which certainly is not heading in my favor. Let's see. So sellers, basically right now, sellers have shown that they're willing to defend around VWAP, but they have yet to push away from VWAP. Buyers continue to refresh up here. We see bids stepping up, yet we're going to most likely be getting closed out of this. Sellers just bought that right back off. But definitely more. See, now this time it's buyers stepping up. Sellers are willing to absorb, but buyers are the ones stepping up more aggressively, trying to get into their positions. So again, we see now we're seeing absorption really on both sides. Sellers adding on, but last few times it was the buyers that ultimately pushed. So here's some sellers are coming down. Let's see if we can't get rid of some of these buyers now. Get through this consolidation, head back down. Buyers just refresh there again. Excuse me. Buyers continue to add on down here. Sellers just step down. That was nice. Let's see if we can't get some follow through here. Here's where we need to see the buyers drop off. Give us a chance to make our move down towards low of day, but that's not what we're seeing right now. We're seeing both sides defend their ends of this consolidation. I'd like to have been short from a little higher in this consolidation. So again, microscopically looking, sellers have been, over the last minute or so, sellers have slowly been pushing down where they're absorbing. So, you know, the last time we absorbed here at 25. Before that, we were absorbing up here at 27. So they're slowly. That doesn't mean it's going to ultimately turn into a move down. But again, just to try to read what it is I'm seeing as best as possible. Here again, we're trading offer, but sellers adding on contracts. And the exact same thing is happening on the bid here at 24. So 25 sellers look like they're so right there again. You saw it become bid and then right away turn back to offer. Sellers added on. So there it's bid again. Now it just went bid. Buyers stepped up. They got the sellers out of the way there at 25. So that we then saw sellers absorbing earlier at 26, 27, which they did again. Now they came back down 25. So buyers are absorbing 24. Sellers are absorbing 25, 26. Let's see which side ultimately breaks first. BB's right now, I believe that with the 987, the 987 right now is my variable. 610, I believe, would have positive divergence. 1597 will not have positive divergence if we start making a move. It's the 987 that I'm not sure how those BBs would ultimately play out if we make a move towards the low. So that's the variable I have right now. Buyer still holding here at 24. Not really doing much trading. You see this yellow number here, not really dropping down much. So although we're sitting there, we're not hitting those bids. There we go. That was a nice one. Didn't really see much come back on the bids. Looks like they'd be willing to go here. Okay, come on. Let's get these sellers to push down here. Buyers just stepped in right there at 22. Let's see what happens. Sellers pushing down. S&P continuing to push higher. Would like to see that stop. Not that it has a direct correlation with oil, but as I always say, if I'm short, I want to see everything go down. If I'm long, I want to see everything go up. So buyers stepped in there at 22. Remember before, buyers were holding 24. So what we would like to see is that the sellers now hold 24. And that does happen a lot. You know, areas that were contended for as support can become resistance. And again, we're talking about a very microscopic view of it, but that is true. Okay, so we're watching here. So that 987 still, it looks to me, if we push down, I think 987, yeah, 987 will lose its positive divergence if we push down. So I'm going to leave my first profit target at the 10 ticks for now. I very much would be willing to. I'm actually moving this to break even because right now, no, okay, yeah, now for sure. So there we go. We don't have positive divergence on the 987. We do on the 610 only. Let me get this guy out of the way here. I'll have to move this on my other chart because it's messing with me. So still have not yet come back to test overnight VPOC. Still have not come back yet to test that 50% retracement. And this profit target is just kind of sitting in no man's land. I really don't like that. I'd rather potentially close out my trade, meaning, you know, I don't want my profit target just sitting nowhere. If I feel as if there's a reason to close the trade, I'll close it where it's at. But just to have a profit target floating around there, I need something to use here. This 50% of the gap is certainly something that I'm paying attention to. If we make another push down, and I'm still watching the same things we were watching before. I'm watching the BBs. Still I see S&P turned down. BB 610 showing positive divergence. 987 showing no positive divergence. 1597 showing no positive divergence. I actually should put my stop at 26. The reason for that is if you remember, 22 was a level that we saw defended, and 24 was a level that we saw defended. So I'm going to get my stop a couple ticks behind that, above VWAP. And actually, I'm going to switch this over to 1 so that if we do make a move back up towards my entry price, I might be willing to add back in one more contract short. VPOC has shifted down. Okay, so let's see. Let's just take a look at what's happened here in the S&P. So we opened, we've pushed up. We're now coming back towards middle of the day. Very clear positive divergence if we were to continue to push down here on the S&P. Definitely looking for a trade entry here. I'd like for it to come down a little further for me. S&P, we could see.
I think my mom's her doctor's appointment to talk to Bill on it. We should be back before having to go back.
Okay, well, call me if you see that's going to be a problem. Oh, wait, we're going to see my mom today.
I know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
But the thing is, well, I'm going to take my mom. I'm going to take my car, right?
No. Take my car, because God forbid someone needs to go get him. I'll be closer.
But at the same time, then I'm not going to be able to pick him up probably because I have to go all the way to Stone.
I'm leaving Stone Tick at 3 o'clock.
What?
Remember, I'm leaving Stone Tick.
Okay, all right. That makes sense.
So S&P, I'm watching S&P. Really nothing for me to do in oil here. I mean, I'm in my short. I'm okay with my short. Really nothing for me to do in oil. Watching S&P, again, strong positive divergence as we're coming back down to test overnight VPOC. Let's see if we can't get some. Let's see if we can't get some buying to step in and jump on board with it. I'm going to take it right here. Might be a little early. We did see buyers. We did see buyers hold here just for a couple seconds, and that is ultimately what got me into this trade. But let's see if they continue to do that, or if sellers keep beating this down. We just saw buyers hold again. Let's see if they're willing to defend overnight VPOC, overnight low, current low of day, all the reasons why we are in this trade. So sellers do keep pushing down here. This 23.36. Sellers continue to hold there on the S&P. Just glancing back over at oil for a second. Nothing. I got nothing doing for you. The BBs have not changed. They don't show any more positive divergence than before. Sellers still coming down on the S&P. Let's see if they don't lift up here. Let's get some buyers start pushing. No, not yet. Still seeing some selling pressure down here. So I'm watching oil for the potential of adding back one more contract short. So S&P is ticked up. I wasn't watching order flow, so I didn't really see how it happened, but we see it did happen. Sellers back in there. Really don't want to see middle of day and VWAP act as resistance. So here's where we saw buyers step in before, overnight VPOC on S&P. Let's see if it happens again. Sellers definitely coming down here. They are pushing. Okay, so we're out of the trade in the S, but I'm telling you what, I am still looking for a long opportunity here in the S&P. Getting close to another level that matters to me. I'm actually liking this very much. Oh, no, sorry. I should only be in three of those. Let's see, what's a good way to close that? It's going to throw off my P&L for the day, however this trade goes. But I'm sorry, I should only be in three contracts right now. Strong positive divergence on 2 of the 3 charts. We got some levels down here that we are. You know what? I don't like having. I'll tell you what. I'm going to close this here, and I'm going to go back into 3. Okay, there we go. And this actually was down here. So watching this 50% retracement down here on oil. I'm trailing my stop to get above this overnight VPOC. So we got through the 50% of the gap here on oil. Now we want to see if this can continue to hold its resistance. Levels are starting to thicken up drastically in oil. Wow. Some large buy orders came in here on the S&P. Got to be careful on the S&P. Make sure this overnight low doesn't start acting as resistance. I want to see us get through it and away from it as quickly as possible. We had this consolidation back here. I don't want the bottom of this consolidation to start acting as resistance. I want to get back into that consolidation and allow the bottom to start acting as support. Oil is continuing to try to test the upper end of this consolidation. I moved my stop price down for, what is it? I guess I'd be at 9 ticks if we get stopped out here. Let's get this S&P to push now. Let's go now. Big bids came in there. Now we got to see the sellers get away. Get up and go. Get up and go. Buyers are pushing. So again, to the tick, not filled. I'm moving my stop to break even. I'm so tired of that. I can't tell you how many times I've had a trade do that. Get to the tick, not fill, and then come against me. And I'm not about having that happen this morning. Okay, so oil came up, stopped me out. Looks like the stop me out is going to turn. It's unbelievable how many times in the last week or so we have had our targets touched. That's just flat out crazy. All right, anyhow, it is almost 10 o'clock, so I'm going to call this a morning. Still would rather be long than short the S&P for sure, but not going to be in front of the screen to deal with it. Really poor trade management on my part today. I think I could say almost every exit today was poorly handled by me, but that is okay. We will continue to work on it, get better at it. Sorry, guys, 1 second. All right, cool. All right, guys. So, as always, if any questions, feel free to contact me any way you have. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow. All right, have a